Hi everyone, I'm so happy you're here. Please let me introduce myself. My name is Irene, I am 19 years old. I read and write and study literature. I am Italian, so forgive me for my terrible pronunciation or if I stumble upon my words. Basically, my life revolves around books and literature, and I basically have no friends that want to listen to me talk for hours and hours about this. So here I am. In this video I would like to introduce you my favorite books of all time, aka books I would literally kill for with no regret at all. Most of them are classics, so you probably have already heard of them, and if you didn't, I am here exactly for that. Oh, and also, they are Italian books, so you will see the Italian title, but I will tell you the English one, and you will also see the Italian edition, so you can see how terrible they are. Let's immediately start with my favorite book of all time that I would sell my own soul for, that is The Picture of Dorian Gray. I am an Oscar Wilde enthusiast and I will forever be. I love that man so much. For those of you who don't know, this book is about a young man who discovers his true beauty and he makes a pact with the devil so that he will never age and the portrait of him will age instead of him. Oscar Wilde is the father of aestheticism, which is a movement basically about everything that's beautiful and everything that's pleasure. If he didn't exist now, we couldn't find those pretty pictures on Pinterest just by adding aesthetic to what we're searching for. I actually need to reread this now that it's fall, and fall is the perfect time to read this novel, and I physically can't wait to experience it all over again. Next we have Asylum, which in Italian is called Follia, and it's a novel by Patrick McGrath. This is the story of Stella, whose husband works in an asylum, and she cheats on him with Edgar, a patient who is recovered there because he killed his wife. And they will start a sickened and toxic relationship together, and they will live together and hate each other and destroy each other, and it's really beautiful. The story is narrated by a psychiatrist who is a friend of Stella and her husband, and this love story is so twisted and gut-wrenching that it made me sick just reading about it, and you will learn that I am all about books and make me want to throw up and cry. Next we have The Belger by our hero Sylvia Plath. It's an autobiographic story where the protagonist is named Esther Greenwood and she tries to kill herself and is hospitalized for it. Plus, writing is so poetic and really recall that it seems like you're reading 100 pages long poem instead of a novel. I became so interested in the life of Sylvia Plath, and I actually wrote a post on my blog about it. If you want to read it, I will link it below, but it's in Italian, so if you want it, I could translate it in English, or you can just pass it and we will translate. It's terrible, but it works. She actually took her own life after her first attempt, and one of her best friends and colleagues, Anne Sexton, wrote a poem about it. It's called Sylvia's Death, and it's the most gut-wrenching and extremely painful poem I have ever read. Please check it out, it's really wonderful. Next we have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I love this book so much. It's much of a comfort novel for me. It makes me think of rain and autumn and hot tea. I think anyone knows the story of Frankenstein, but in case you don't know, it's basically the story of a man, Frankenstein, who brings a monster to life by assembling different parts of dead bodies, and when the monster comes to life, he tries to attack Frankenstein, so he leaves him abandoned to his own life that he didn't even want, and he has to understand life and the world and everything in between, and he's not a human being, so he doesn't understand it. It's truly a heartbreaking story, and it makes you cry so hard because the monster didn't deserve what he went through. He didn't even get a name, he was just called the monster, and he was so kind-hearted, and he learned to struggle by himself, and I cried so hard I couldn't stop. Next we have something that won't completely crush your soul, and it will be the only one, and it's So You Want to Be a Writer by Charles Bukowski. This is my first book Tchaikovsky, and it won't be the last one, I can promise you that. It's a poetry collection, and it has a really rude and ironic tone, and it really describes the American life, the American way of thinking, of acting, of living. I don't really know how else to describe this to you. I can only say that I read it cover to cover in one sitting, and that's really rare of me because I have the attention span of a rock. So take from that what you want. Let's go back to books that will completely ruin your existence, and let's talk about Lolita. This is the book that made me realize what I wanted to do with my life, in the sense that I want to write, not that I want to fuck 13 years old girls. This is a story of a man who falls in love with a 13 years old Lolita. He is 40, and the book basically records his obsession with her. When I tell you, I cried out loud in a train for hours and hours reading this book, and not because of the story, but because of the writing. This is the best writing I have ever experienced in my life. I also have a blog post about this novel because I couldn't stop thinking about it, so I had to write about it. So if you want to hear more about it, check it out. Next we have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I painted this myself, and it sucks, but the Italian cover sucks more, so that's okay. It's really a national crime. This is basically the story of an elite Greek class which kills people and try to get away with it while keeping their mysterious and sexy look. This is the only book ever written, and I won't hear anything about it. My copy is fully annotated and with coffee stains and ripped pages, and this means I really liked it. One thing I have to say is that once you read it, this will become your whole personality. You have been warned. We are now on the last book of today's video, and if you follow me on TikTok, you know it's going to be On Some Swallowing by Lady Dakota Warren. If you don't follow her here on YouTube, what are you doing? This masterpiece is a collection of poetry and prose and journal extracts, and it completely changed my life, and I will never be the same, and I love it. I love it so much. There is a content warning at the beginning, so check it out before reading it. This is pure girlhood and rage and basically everything Lana Del Rey will sing about. Safe to say, this is now part of me, and this is truly how I describe myself. I am so grateful to have read this book. It completely changed me, really. So we have now come to an end. I thank you so much for hanging out with me and listening to me rambling about books and literature and all these kind of things. I'm so grateful to be able to share my passion with everyone that could even slightly resonate with it. I'm so grateful you chose to be that person. I have an Instagram and a TikTok account where I also talk about books and where I sometimes post things I write. And I also have my beloved blog that is now part of my soul and my body. I will link everything down below, and I will also make sure to link all the books that I've mentioned, both in Italian and in English. You're welcome. Again, I am so grateful you chose to spend time with me. I love you so much. I hope you have the most wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video, which I don't know when will be posted because I have now school and work, and we'll see. Bye!